Alright, so moving on now to our next concept, and that is of an object. Alright, so what in the world do we mean by an object? Well, AuthorIt is an object-oriented system, okay? Now, if you can envision a user manual in front of you, alright? Now, there's various components inside of that user manual. So if we're looking at that user manual now, the first thing we may see is a title page. All right. If we move that title page, the next thing we may see is a table of contents. All right. Then after that table of contents, perhaps we'll start to see some chapters. And those chapters have graphics and links and topics inside of them. And finally, we may see a glossary and an index, okay? Well, what AuthorIt has done is analyze the various components that make up your basic book or document. And it has broken it apart into objects, where now we have a title page object, a table of contents object, a topic object, graphic object, index object, and so on. Alright, these objects are now all basically self-contained bits of content, and you can reuse them across multiple books. So instead of creating 50 tables of contents for the 50 documents that you manage, you can reuse the one table of contents object across all 50 of your documents. Now the beauty of that is that instead of managing 50 tables of contents, you're managing one now. So if you need to make a change, you only make it to the one object. That change is then reflected in all of the locations that that table of contents is used. For example, let's say that your standard was to have 4 levels of headings in your tables of contents. You've decided over time that's too many. So now you just want 3 levels of headings in your table of contents. Well, you just need to change that 4 to a 3 in the one location, in the one table of contents object, and then the next time you publish your books, they will all now have 3 levels of headings instead of 4. Alright, so the management of your content is now greatly reduced by the fact that you are reusing your content. And we've made reusing content easier for you by breaking your documents up into individual objects. Alright, now let's take a look at what comprises an object in the AuthorIt library. Now here they all are. We've got all these different types of objects. We will not be taking a look at every single one of these objects today. We will be taking a look at them over the next 4 days, so don't worry about that. But these are the types of objects that you're going to find inside of your AuthorIt library. Books, topics, file objects, which are used for graphics, glossaries, and so on. Now associated with each one of these objects is an icon. Alright, so when we log into the AuthorIt library, when you see an object, you're going to see the name of that object, but you're also going to see the little icon next to it. So one of the first things that you'll get familiar with in your library are these icons so that you can visually identify what type of object you're looking at without having to open it up and view its contents. Alright, so these little icons here, these will start to mean something to you over time. Alright, and we're going to be taking a look at each one of these objects over the next couple of days. Each one of them is unique. They each serve a unique purpose in our library. Alright, now our objects will all have a relationship to one another. They all basically work on the same team, and their goal is to publish your documents in a consistent manner. Alright, now what we're looking at here are three types of objects that are all working with one another. They all have a relationship to one another. Over on the right-hand side, we have an object called the X1000 User Guide. This is actually a book object. We're going to talk about books in greater detail in the next, in 2 modules from now. But a book object is a container for the objects that you would like to publish, all right? Now, inside of this book object, we have a topic object called the X1000 description. And here's a preview of what that X1000 description looks like. A topic object is a type of object that is used in the body of your document. It has a heading, like you see here, and then it has text that follows that heading. All right, and inside of this topic object, we have a graphic. This graphic is referred to as the X1000. It's a picture of our product, the Acme X1000 teleportation device or backpack. And yes, we have an Acme teleportation theme going on in our student library. So you'll either love it or you hate it. I will apologize to you now if you don't like it. But we chose a very unbiased industry to use for the examples in our student exercises, so we wouldn't exclude any particular customer by a fictional product. All right, so what we have here is an object, which has an object inside of it, which has another object inside of it. All right, these three objects have been assembled in this X1000 User Guide book. All right, and they all have a relationship to one another. All right, now what happens is that these objects can then be published out to various formats. All right, and here are the different types of formats that you can publish from Author-it. We've got Microsoft Word, PDF, our various help systems, HTML, XHTML, DITA, and XML. We also have some fun new formats that have just recently come out, such as WebHelp and Author-it Aspect as well. So our list of publication types is growing by the day, it seems. But what we have here are these three objects. They've been assembled inside of this book. You can then publish that book to any of the formats that you see here. So the single book can be published to all of these different publishing formats, okay? So we are reusing content across multiple books in our library, and then we are single sourcing that content where we can publish that one book to all of these different output formats. And we're going to take a closer look at how we can publish to those various output formats over the next few minutes. All right. Now, when we publish that book to one of those formats, we can then view that publication and then see the content that was inside of those objects. So here is our published document. Here is the published version of that X1000 description topic that had that X1000 backpack picture inside of it. All right. So when we set up our books and we set up that relationship, we then publish those books, and then as a result, we get an externally created document. Over on the left, that document is a Microsoft Word or PDF file. Over here on the right, we're taking a look at an HTML publication. All right, so that single book that has all of those relationships inside of it can be published to those various outputs and then viewed as an external document from Author-it.